Shure have released the new MV7 microphone, and whilst it may look familiar, it has a few hidden treasures. Hi folks, I'm Mike, and I hope you're well. This is the brand new Shure MV7 dynamic microphone, and it's the microphone that I'm going to be using for the entirety of this video. Now, it's heavily influenced by the classic Shure SM7B, a microphone which I know many of you are fans of, but this microphone packs a lot more features than the SM7B, despite being a fraction of the price. We're going to be going through those features in this video, and there are various different ways you can access them using different apps on different platforms. And I'm also going to be trying this mic out in some different ways, with some spoken word, as I am now, and also with some singing, both male and female vocals. So there's a lot to go through, so let's get started with the specs. The Shure MV7 is a dynamic microphone with a cardioid polar pattern. That means that it's good at picking things up just in front of it and rejecting things behind and further away. And when your room is untreated, that's a big advantage. With a frequency response of 50 to 16,000 Hz, it's going to be great for voice. Now, the build quality is very nice indeed, with a solid metal casing and swivel mount. With the included adapter, this is going to mount to most mic stands and arms. It also comes with a snug-fitting foam windshield to cut down on plosives. Removing the windshield reveals a very sturdy grille to protect the capsule, but it's at the rear where the true nature of the MV7 is revealed. Not only do we see a regular XLR mic connector, but we also see a micro USB connector to hook up to a computer, smartphone or tablet, and also a headphone jack for monitoring. Now, in this mode, we can control various aspects of the mic via apps on these devices, or we can use the built-in touch controls for things like gain, headphone volume, monitor mixing and muting. So, is there a difference in sound when we're using USB compared to XLR? So as I say, this can either be plugged in via an XLR cable into a dedicated audio interface, and that's what you're hearing now, or you can plug it straight into your computer, phone or tablet using a USB cable, and that's what you're listening to now. Now, I'm going to continue to switch between the two so that you can see if you can hear any differences. I'll be indicating on the screen which one you're listening to. Now, I have to say that the audio interface I'm using is no slouch. It's the Presonus Studio 192. I bought it a couple of years ago for around about $1,000 US, so it's no cheapie. So definitely let me know in the comments down below what differences you can hear between the two. I'd love to hear about that. Now, as you listen, I'm going to talk about the next segment. You see, as I say, this microphone is inspired by the Shure SM7B, and I know that that microphone is well known to you often because of podcasting or radio or even YouTubers using it quite a lot. But in actual fact, it's very well known as a vocal mic for singing. In fact, it was used on the best-selling album of all time, Michael Jackson's Thriller. So it makes sense to me, as this microphone is inspired by that great microphone, to test this out on some male and female vocals. And that's what we're going to listen to now. We should have left, we should have learned.
We should have shown before we burned. We should have crawled before we walked. We should have kissed before we talked. We should have looked before we turned. You should have helped me from the start.
I never thought I'd need to,
and never let us drift apart.
I never thought I'd miss you.
We could have taught, we could have learned, we could have taken but returned. How did we ever dream so low?
I'll never know. Now, my opinion is one thing, but it's really your opinion that counts. So let me know in the comments down below how you felt about this microphone being used on both male and female vocals. Now, be a little bit kind. We didn't have long to record this, so it was just a quick couple of takes each. Maybe not our best vocal performance ever, but you take what you can get, hey? So this microphone can be plugged into either a computer, a smartphone, or a tablet. And when you do that, you get apps available so that you can control different aspects of the sound and the features of this microphone. Now, I've tried it on PC, Android, and on my iPad as well. And I saw that the apps are very, very similar, if not identical, across the board. So I'm going to show you the PC version now, but actually you'll find all of these features on the apps on your smartphone or tablet. So while we're talking about the apps, let's just have a quick chat about connectivity. In the box, you get a couple of useful cables. You get a micro USB to USB-A cable. That's handy when you want to do what I'm doing now, connect up to a computer. You also get a micro USB to USB-C cable. Now, I found this ever so handy because my Android phone has a USB-C connection, so I just plugged it in, downloaded the app, and I was up and running in no time at all. What is not in the box is the micro USB to Lightning cable. That's what you're going to need if you're using an iOS device like an iPhone or an iPad. Now, I happen to have one lying around, so I hooked up to both of those right away. Again, downloaded the app, it worked flawlessly. But do keep in mind, if you're going to be using it with an iOS device, you may need to get hold of one of those cables. So let's dive into this app. As I say, on the PC, it's almost identical to the way it performs on these different devices that I've mentioned. We're in manual mode at the moment, as you can see at the top here. And the first thing we see is that we can save and recall presets. That's very handy when you've set all these things up. If you want to set it up for a particular situation, you can recall it very, very quickly and you're up and running. Then we get a mic mute. Guess what that does? It switches off the mic. I'll do that now, and that means till I switch it back on again. Okay, that was useful, wasn't it? Could be handy at times. Then we go to the mic gain. This is for controlling the actual level of your mic. So I can make it quieter like so, or I can make it louder like so. Then we have this monitor mix. Now, you're not going to be able to hear anything when I adjust this, but I can hear the difference in my headphones. It enables you to blend the sound between the microphone and whatever sound is on the device you're using, whether that's a computer or a smartphone or a tablet. Then we move down to this EQ section. At the moment, the EQ is set to flat, which means it's doing nothing at all. But we also have an option to set a high pass filter on. Now, what that does, and I've just switched it on now, is it gets rid of some of the low end, the bass end of what you're hearing. Now, this could be useful if you're finding you're in there sort of quite close to the microphone. It's getting too rumbly. You could use that to do a high pass, get rid of that low end. Then we have a presence boost filter here, or EQ. This is helpful for sort of pushing out the mid to high frequencies. This is going to help you cut through if you've, say, got some music in the background. That can be very, very helpful. Then we have the two combined together. So we have the high pass and the presence boost together there. I'm going to set that EQ back to a flat level there. And then next we have a limiter. So what a limiter does, and I'll just switch it on, is it stops things getting too loud and peaking and getting that awful sound when things peak in the digital domain. If you start sort of yelling into your microphone or there's sudden loud sounds, it's going to help to control that. I'm not going to say it's going to cut it out completely. I still think you could make things distort if you got really, really loud, but it is going to help to control it. So if you've got a little bit too loud in your voice, all of a sudden it's going to make sure it doesn't get out of control. I'll switch that off, and then we'll go down to the compressor. So the compressor is going to help to maintain things at a high level. It's going to make sure the louder bits are not quite so loud, and it's going to make sure the quieter bits come up a little bit. So it brings the dynamic range in a little bit more narrow, and this is going to help you to be heard a lot of the time. So it's off at the moment. I'll put it on lightly, and you probably feel like there's a volume increase there. I'll go to medium. Yeah, and it sounds like it's all getting a little bit louder. And then I'll go to heavy, and it's definitely getting louder. And the thing is, if I'm still whispering like this, I think you should still be able to hear me quite clearly. And when I talk a bit more normally like this, there isn't a sort of massive difference in volume. So a compressor can be very, very handy and can help you to get that kind of radio sound. I'm going to switch it off. I'm going to suddenly get more quiet. There I go. So let's go over to the auto mode. I'll just switch over now. Now, this has a few different options, and as it suggests, this is a sort of a more automatic kind of mode. But we do have the mic mute option up there, and we also have that ability to mix between the microphone and the background sources. And I got all quiet then as I pushed that down. You didn't hear that. Then we have this mic position thing. This is a sort of an automated thing depending on the particular situation. So I'm reasonably close at the moment. So I've got it set to the near setting. That's very suitable. If I found I wanted to be a bit further away for some reason, you can hear I'm getting very, very quiet, then I could switch to the far setting. Now, this is going to be useful when I'm far away like that. And that can be very useful if you don't want to get that sort of deep sound. You just want to be away a bit. And also sometimes if you're on camera like I am now, sometimes the microphone can kind of obscure your face too much. It can be handy to be a little bit further away like I am now. I'm going to leave that like that. I quite like it. Let's test the tones down the bottom here. We're on natural at the moment, and I do think it sounds rather natural. Let's change it to dark. Now, when we're on dark, we find things, yeah, it's low, a little bit more nasally to me. Now, this is going to sort of depend on your voice as well, whether it sounds good. I don't think it sounds very good on my voice at all, so I'm going to go back to natural. So here we are on natural, and then I'm going to try the bright mode, and this is likely going to make things a bit more sort of sparkly on the top end. So let's try that. Oh, it's definitely more sparky. Now, don't write this off. This may sound a bit too sort of crisp to you. There's definitely a lot more sibilance there. But again, if you did have something going on in the background, that could help you to sort of cut through the mix a little bit. So you've got to just sort of experiment with these in different situations to see what's going to work for you. I'll go back to natural now. That's my favorite setting. So if you're thinking about buying this microphone, definitely follow the link in the description down below. That's going to take you to Tommen. Now, Tommen do great prices on all kinds of audio gear, and they've got a fantastic range as well. Now, although they're identified with supplying Europe, they actually ship to all kinds of countries around the world. So definitely check that out. In fact, I just want to thank Julian from Tommen for getting this microphone out to me all the way here in Australia so that I could show you guys. Thank you so much. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button for me. That really helps me out. If you like this kind of content, subscribe and ring the bell on YouTube so that you're notified about my other videos. And if you really like to help this channel out, then consider becoming a patron at patreon.com. The link for that is in the description down below. And for as little as $1 per month, you can help me help you by keep making these videos. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.